Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Dallas Wings press conference to introduce newly acquired center Teaira McCowan. On the call today, we have Dallas Wings president and CEO Greg Bibb, Dallas Wings head coach Vicki Johnson, and of course, Teaira McCowan herself. First of all, we are going to go to Dallas Wings president and CEO Greg Bibb. Greg, go ahead.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you all for joining us today. A great day to be a member of the Dallas Wings organization as we officially announce Teaira McCowan as part of our team. As many of you know, over the past several years, our strategy here with the Wings during our roster rebuild has been to aggregate draft picks, draft high talent, high quality players, continue to roll assets and draft picks forward as much as possible. So at some point along the way, we would be able to push our chips in and play our hand. That day came on Monday when we acquired Teaira McCowan. As many of you know, Teaira is one of the most dominant young post players in the WNBA. She has been annually amongst the league leaders in rebounding, double-doubles, blocks, and defensive ratings. And in my opinion, the opinion of our coaching staff and others, she is the ideal fit for what our young, talented, and promising roster needs to continue to take the steps forward to be ultimately being a WNBA championship caliber team. We're thrilled to have Teaira joining us. We think she's going to make a big impact instantly, and we can't wait to have her put on the Dallas Wings jersey for the first time. And now I'm going to turn it over to head coach Vicki Johnson to share a few remarks. Vicki?
Like Greg said, we're very happy to have Teaira. It's a blessing today for the Dallas organization to continue to build the foundation that were started last year. We saw some cracks in the whole of our foundation, and I think Teaira is one of the players that can fill that crack. We wanted to make sure that we get someone that fits into our system, our family, because we're building a family, a sisterhood, and it's more than just basketball. And just talking to her yesterday, and I see that in her. I see the love, the passion that she has, not only for the game, but just life itself. And being from Texas, it's a blessing to bring her back home to Texas to play in front of her family and fans, and hopefully bring some Mississippi State fans to Dallas. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Our players are very excited to have her and have her part of the organization. So welcome.
Thank you.
Teaira, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I first off want to say thank you to the Indiana Fever for drafting me and getting me into the WNBA. I spent 3 great years there, and it was all fun, had a good ride, but now it's time for me to pull it over to the Dallas Wings, and I'm super excited to be a part of what you guys are building here. And, it's my honor, that you guys think so highly of me to come in and be a part of this team. So thank you.
Welcome.
Andrew?
Thank you all very much. Now we are going to take questions from the audience. Please use the raise your hand feature, and then we are going to go in the order that those questions are received. We will have a recording of this video sent out after the conference, and if you are unable to unmute your mic for any reason, please put your question in the chat, or you can send it to me directly. First, I think we have a special guest on who would like to ask the first question.
What's up, Teaira? It's Enrique.
Oh, hey.
You can see me on here. Hey, I think I speak for, the rest of the team. We're super, super, super excited to have you in Dallas. When we found this out, we all were texting each other like, this is definitely something that we need. And I texted you ASAP. Like, I definitely wanted this. And, I can see us doing great things here and the rest of the team. So we're super, super, super excited to have you. Can't wait for you to get from Turkey to the States. We'll be waiting. And like I said, we're super excited. So yeah, I just wanted to stop by and say that. They said I was supposed to ask a question. What's the first restaurant you gonna go to in Texas?
Wherever y'all recommend me to, It's been a while since I've been
You
on
the
the
one
side.
from Texas. You probably know more than me. I've really been there just a couple years. Last time I was in the bubble.
I mean, we can figure it out together. You know, I haven't really been in Dallas
Yeah.
that much, so
Okay.
yeah, we can figure it out.
Well, your first restaurant, it's on me. Wherever we go, I'll pay for it.
Oh,
Right. Dallas done gave me a little contract. I'm trying to show out.
You're acting different.
All right. I'll see you guys. Hey to everybody else too.
Thanks, Enrique.
Great.
Thank you very much for hopping on, Enrique. Next, we are going to go to Drew Ivory. Drew, go ahead and ask your question.
Talk about early teammate chemistry. I saw you on the Instagram live last night. You were on there with your friends. Tried to get to ask you something there. I don't know if you got around to it or you guys answered it before you started the live, but Alicia's holding down number 15. What number are you going for?
I'm still deciding that. I'm debating on between like 3 numbers right now. So I'm kind of, trying to figure that out.
What are those 3? Can you tell us?
I'd rather wait. It's,
Okay. We'll accept that. But yeah, I completely agree with, Greg and Vicky's sentiments about you being the perfect addition here. I mean, you're going to fit like a glove, in my opinion. What is something that you think that you've learned in your first few years of the WNBA that you can take from your experiences in Indiana and bring it here?
I would say me personally, I just can't guard myself. And I do that a lot of times. And I find myself, thinking about what I did 3 plays ago and we're down the road. So I feel like this season overseas, I've really channeled into that. And I kind of just like, I miss a shot or I mess up, I just keep playing. And so I've been really successful doing that. So I think bringing that back into this team, I think it'll be great for me personally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Drew. Next, we're going to go to Howard Megdal. Howard, go ahead and ask your question.
Appreciate it. T, welcome to Dallas. Great to see you always. I actually have, if you'll indulge me, one for you, Vicky, and Greg, one for you. Vicky, the place to start is when you came in, you talked about wanting to lead the league in pace. Obviously that wasn't something that, happened last year. Certainly T plays, a more of a half-court oriented game. And I just wonder, has that adjusted in your mind in terms of the goal? Has what you've seen in the league in the intervening time changed your thinking about it? Just, curious where you are on that.
We still want to play fast, but, Teaira's an all-star. She's one of those players that she's a walking double-double, and so we will adjust to her in a way that really help our team develop. I said, the one thing that really hurt us last year was the fact that we didn't have a true inside presence. In her 3 years in the league, she has proven that she can score and she demands the double team. And so with a double team, what it's going to do is leave our shooters open. And she's a good passer. And we also want to lead the league in offensive rebounding. Well, we led the league in offensive rebounding, and her averaging 3 a game, that's 13 a game. So by far, and we want to lead the league in rebounding as well. And also we wanted to improve our field goal percentage. And we wanted a rim protector, and she brings all that to the table. So the pace will still get up and down, but at the same time, we'll be smart. And when we do have to set up in the half court, then we have an inside presence to go to that she can finish and make great things happen, not only for herself, but for the team.
Makes sense. And obviously, dovetails with the way she played in Mississippi State as well. So I get that. And Greg, the question for you is that we've seen some teams building in, for lack of a better phrase, almost a bully ball kind of way. Connecticut went 26-6 doing it that way last year. Vegas did that, when they had Liz and Asia playing together as well. So, and Vicky touched on this, this is a team that was already elite on both the offensive and defensive boards. Was your thinking when you looked to acquire T about maxing out what you could be in that way rather than, looking at a roster and thinking about, all right, where are areas we needed to address that we were weaker last year?
Well, Howard, first of all, good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. And I'm going to answer that question in a second, but I wanted to add what Coach VJ was mentioning a minute ago. I think there are a lot of things that Teaira does well, and some of them are very evident and talked about a lot, most notably rebounding the basketball and rim presence. But I think there are other things that T does really well that aren't talked about a lot. First and foremost, I think she is a way above average passer out of the post, which fits really well with where our strength of the team has been recently. And I also think she doesn't get enough credit for her ability to get up and down the court, primarily because the style of play in which she has been in recently hasn't really dictated or demanded that. So I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised of how she fits into the up-tempo style of play that Coach VJ has been working on with our team. In terms of your question, I think she is, first of all, to Coach VJ's comments, I think she's an all-star player in our league. I think 50, 51 double-doubles and 88 games played in our league. I think that's the third most in the league during her time in the WNBA. But I think most importantly for me, it's rim protection. I think while we have a lot of young talent on our team and we have young talent in our post already as well, I think where we struggled a bit the last couple of years has been when we've played teams with big post presence. And having Teaira now on the roster will provide us an answer and solution for some of those matchups where we've really struggled in the past. So anytime you can add a player of her ability, it's my belief you do so and you figure it out later. But in this case, we don't even have to do that because she fits in exactly where we need her to be and where we were having a deficit. So I think it's a win-win for us.
Sure. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Howard. Next, we're going to go to Eric Wilson. Eric, go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody's time. I have one for Coach Johnson and then one for Teaira. Coach, I wanted to ask you, as part of this building process, as you building something here with the Dallas Wings, what were one of the intangibles that excited you to have Teaira be a part of this young group?
I think the most important thing is just Teaira as a person, just having the opportunity to talk to her and just feel her passion for the game and the WNBA. I knew that I wanted a player like her on this team to continue to build a solid foundation, a sisterhood. That's all I talk about, a sisterhood. Because basketball is basketball. It is what it is. But after this, building friendship, lifelong friendship that lasts and means a great deal to us as females, someone you can count on, someone you can depend on. And that's what you get from your team and your teammates for years after retirement. Now, basketball-wise, she's the total package and what we needed, what people say we needed. We needed an inside presence. We needed somebody that we can throw the ball to, that can protect the rim, like Greg said. But most of all, for me, it's just a good person. She's a good person. And that's what I want. I want to build a solid foundation with a very young team to make sure that it lasts for years to come, not just for this year or next year, but for 5-10 years from now. And it's a place where they can enjoy coming to work every day. I mean, it's a game, it's their job, but I want them to enjoy coming to practice every day because that's where it starts, in practice, and then the game is the reward. And so I want her to know that we love her, when she's part of our family, and we're going to do some great things here in Dallas.
Awesome. And then Teaira, just kind of expanding upon that, what are one of the aspects of your game that you're excited to bring to this team? Because Coach Johnson, she's definitely got a plan in place when it comes to the elevation of this team. So what is the one aspect of your game that's going to prove to be complementary to the Dallas Wing roster?
I would go back and say my defense. Defense is what I pride myself on. At State, we were defensive minded. I know Coach is defensive minded. So, just getting back to my roots, actually playing, hard-nosed defense. I think I'm going to be back in my element. I love, getting blocks. I love rebounding, kicking out to my teammates, getting it in transition and they're going, that gets us going. So it all starts on defense. And I'm pretty excited to be back on that side of the field.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Next, we are going to go to Megan Price. Megan, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, everyone. I have a question for Teaira and for Greg, if that's okay. First off, Teaira, congratulations on becoming a Dallas Wing. I wanted to touch on some of your time in Indiana, though. The last 2 seasons, you got a chance to play for legendary coach Marianne Stanley. Is there anything that you picked up from her that will stick with you and that you'll bring with you to Dallas?
One thing Coach said, she said, nobody can guard you when you put your mind to it. Like, once I get out of my own head is what I said recently. I'm a force to be reckoned with. So, I took that and I've been running with it ever since. So I think that was the most valuable thing she could have told me. And I dialed in and listened to her, and it's been great.
Awesome. And then secondly, what were your thoughts when you heard you're going to be playing for Coach Johnson, someone who has an emphasis on the defensive side of the ball like yourself?
I was excited. I was pretty stoked to be going to a young team. I know Coach is going to put in a game plan that is well going to be executed by us as players. And so I'm really just ready to get down and see what she has planned for us.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
And for Greg, congratulations also on picking up Teaira. And so the last time we spoke, I actually asked you about these draft picks. And by the way you answered it without revealing too much, I kind of knew you had something up your sleeve. Was this something that, you've had planned since maybe the beginning of free agency, or was this something that came up really quick and you were like, I got to jump on this before somebody else does?
Yeah, long-term strategy, as I said, has been to aggregate picks, put together a talented young roster, let them grow together, but at some point take that excess asset base and utilize it to bring back a player that's really going to accelerate our progression. We made the playoffs last year. We lost to the eventual champion. I think everyone in the locker room after the game, first and foremost, was devastated and disappointed, which felt really bad then, but also was a great sign of where we were organizationally and where we see ourselves going. But everyone also recognized we took a tangible step forward last year. And even though that playoff opportunity was very brief, it was very meaningful, and I think will pay dividends for us this year. When you think about all the change we had last year, new coach, head coach, new coaching staff, new style of play, a bunch of new players, to do what we were able to do last year was a really good first step. Now this season is about continuity, and now you have an opportunity to add a player of Teaira's stature, and you can see that acceleration happening in terms of our organization. So it's been a long-term process, but in terms of Teaira specifically, she is someone that I have followed for a very long time. And I can tell you that I spent Valentine's Day 2019 in Starkville, Mississippi, watching Teaira play. And as much as I love Starkville, I'm glad that we finally are getting a return on that investment, because my household was not very happy when I was in Starkville for Valentine's Day. So that's been great. But the point of the story is that we have spent a long time watching Teaira. She is someone that I've had a high regard for a number of years. She obviously was at the top of our draft board back in 19. We sat at the 5 pick. We didn't have an opportunity. Ironically, we ended up with the opportunity to draft Enrique at 5. That has turned out very well for us. But now to go back and kind of come full circle and get that other player who was at the top of our draft list to put with Enrique, I don't know if I could have imagined it would work so well. The process here, it's great to have Lynn Dunn back in the league, by the way, for some of us old timers who have known Lynn a long time. She's an asset to our game, and to have her back in the WNBA is great. We bargained hard and long on this particular deal. There were a lot of different iterations of how it could work out. And I think in the end, it worked out well for both of us. I think for Indiana, where they are, to be able to do it kind of what we did a few years ago in terms of start to build and aggregate picks and turn over the roster and add a lot of talent, I think it's great for them. And obviously for us, we're in a little bit of a different place. Again, Teaira coming in helps us accelerate the progress we've already made.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and good luck on y'all's upcoming season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Next, we're going to go to Jackie Powell. Jackie, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you to the 3 of you for being here with us. So I've got one question for each of you. So I'll start with Greg. I'll go clockwise, and then Teaira, and then Vicki Johnson. So Greg, you know, I noticed in this trade that you did get a first rounder back in it. And so I'm curious as to how you have been evaluating this year's draft versus last year's and the year before when it comes to the type of talent that is available in this year's.
Well, I think that's another great element of this draft, this trade for us. We were able to bring in a player of Teaira's level, and we were able to still stay in the first round this year and stay in the first round next year. So you never get anything of meaningful value in the WNBA without having to give meaningful value up. And we gave up a lot here. We gave up the 4th and 6th pick this year, and we gave up our first round pick next year. But we stayed in the draft. I am a guy, my track record proves it, that believes in the draft. I think certainly no two drafts are the same, and one draft may be better or weaker than the next or the one before, but I am a true believer that there's always talent and value in a draft. So we always try to be involved in some way. And I think right now we have pick 7 in the first round. And if we choose to stay with that pick, we will get a player that's going to help us at that pick 7. So I'm excited to continue our process. We've done a lot of work around this year's draft. And while we'll have to kind of reimagine the draft board relative to our new position, I'm excited about the prospect of adding a player through the draft, if that's what we in fact do come April 11th.
I appreciate that. And for Teaira, you know, obviously this is very exciting for you. I'm curious as to how you believe the Wings will provide a developmental infrastructure to really allow you to work and improve your game so you can be even better than you've been in your first few years in the W.
I'm sure when I get down there, you know, the coaches are going to have a game plan that is ready for me to go to. I'm pretty sure they know my strengths and weaknesses. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be on me. I'm not going to expose myself right now, but I kind of know my weaknesses, you know, but I have to get on that and make sure that I'm dominant on both ends, you know, and I'll just be even more hard to guard with, you know, the things that we're going to work on in the upcoming season.
Can I add a little bit there? Just some background information. We as an organization have spent a lot of time, energy, and full transparency money building out a support system around our players and our coaching staff. We have a brand new development coach in Zach Bunsick, who has worked with a number of our players previously. And I'm excited for him to spend time with Teaira. But we also have 2 post-oriented former WNBA players on our coaching staff, and Kelly Raymond and Lacoe Willingham, who I think will be tremendous assets in terms of Teaira's continued development. And Lacoe, in fact, has a previous relationship with Teaira from her time in Indiana. So I think we are perfectly positioned to take Teaira to that next level. And then from a medical and player wellness perspective, we continue to add layers there as well to enhance our players' ability to optimize performance every time they take the court. So I'm really excited to get Teaira within our structure and watch her continue to grow and prosper.
I appreciate both of those responses, and congratulations, Teaira. And finally, for Coach Johnson, you know, I'm curious as to how you foresee Teaira being able to function with Satou Sabally. That's someone who we haven't discussed in the Zoom. We talked about Arike. How exactly do you imagine that working basketball-wise?
Perfect. 2 different positions. Neither one really want each other's spots. Teaira doesn't shoot the 3. She doesn't play outside. Teaira is an inside present. I think Satou's ability to be able to penetrate and to be able to pass, high pick and rolls when she dives or pop, they're not rotating from Teaira on the weak side, or she's cleaning up the offensive board. I think it's going to work perfect. You know, I think it's a 1-2 punch, you know, and also with the rest of the players. I think what she brings to the table, people don't realize Teaira is only 25 years old, you know, and she's still one of the dominant big players in this league. You know, she's one of the top rebounders on both sides, offensively and defensively. You know, and people don't realize that. You know, and the players that's around her this year and years to come are all-star MVP and an all-star player. And then we still have Izzy and we have Mabry and Mariah Jefferson that can get her to basketball and do great things. So she has shooters around her. We have an ability to pass the basketball, and I think she'll be fine. For me, I think she's going to average 16 and 12. Easy. You know, I'm not asking her to rebound like she did in high school, 35 rebounds. You know, I'm just asking her to average like 12. You know, that's it.
But we'll take 35.
We'll take 35, at least one night.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Jackie. Next, we're going to go to Ariana Vedia. Ariana, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, guys. Good to see you. You guys already touched on set two, so I only have a question for Teaira. Who on the wings are you kind of looking forward to playing with rather than playing against?
I mean, honestly, everyone, because Dallas, playing against them, they were so fast, they were everywhere, they're long. Like, it was just difficult when, you know, we played against them. So to be a part of that, I think that, you know, it's going to be even better. With me in there, I mean, we're definitely going to be extra long. So I think it all worked out good. You know, I am super excited to be a part of that because guarding them, it was a nightmare in practice because we never knew what they were going to do. You know, they were just like, they're going to fly all over the place and they're going to be on you. And sure enough, that's what they did the whole entire game.
I actually do have a question for Greg and VJ. You know, adding another big in the rotation, what does this mean for players like Charlie, Bella, and Awak?
So I think it's important to recognize that when you have an opportunity to add a player of Teaira's caliber, it is not a statement against the players that you already have. We have very talented young post players that have bright futures in this league. But when you have an opportunity to get a Teaira McCowan, you get Teaira McCowan and you figure the rest out later. So, you know, there's been a lot of chatter already about what does this mean for everyone else on the roster and how does she fit? Teaira McCowan, when you can get Teaira McCowan, you get her, and it means nothing really about anyone that's already on your roster. And I'm sure VJ can expand on that.
Yeah, I totally agree with Greg. You know, this is a 12-man roster. This is not a one-man roster. This is not about, you know, how many fives we have or centers. It's about building a solid foundation and playing your minutes and playing your minutes hard, you know, and make it competitive. At the end of the day, Teaira, Charlie, and Bella, Awak, we're competing against the Sylvia Fowles, the Brittany Grounders, the Liz Cambage, the Aja Wilsons, you know, Della Dunn. That's who we're competing against. We're not competing against each other. We're working together to make a championship team and to make each other better for years to come. And so that's how I look at it. I don't look at Teaira versus Charlie or Charlie versus Bella. I look at them as a whole, as one. And how do we compete against the Sylvia Fowles? There should be no gap. We should dominate at the 5 position like we dominate at the 2 position with Enrique and Mabry.
Thank you guys, and congratulations, Teaira.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ariana. Before our next question, just a reminder for those that came in late. If you want to ask a question, please use the raise your hand feature and we'll go in the order that those questions are received. If you are unable to mute your mic, go ahead and send me a message through the chat and we'll make sure your question is asked. Next, we are going to go to Drew Ivory. Drew, go ahead and ask your question.
Back again. This one's for Greg. Greg, when you look at what you have now in the acquisition of Teaira and, you know, your recent extension of Enrique and that combo, does it kind of, do you think of this as like another chance at what you had with Skylar and Liz, you know, the kind of guard and post combo, you know, 2.0, if you will?
Teaira and Enrique are Teaira and Enrique, and I'm solely focused on the now and the future. I'm excited about our entire roster. We have spent a lot of time It's been a long road building from where we were a few years ago to where we are today. We still have a long way to go. We made the playoffs, but we were the 7th seed. We lost in the first round. We haven't accomplished anything yet, but I think now we're at a place where we have the pieces. We just need the pieces to work together, to grow together, and win ultimately together. And I feel like we have the ability to do that. So I'm really excited about the roster construct. It's been a long road, and I think we're very close to where we want to be and have the ability now. It's on us to take those next steps toward being a championship contending team.
And this is probably a too early question. You'll have more information for us later, but while you're here, I might as well ask. What are you guys thinking this year in terms of, access? I know it grew throughout the course of the season after All-Star break, but different year. What are we looking at for this year, if you have anything right now?
When you say access, do you mean media access?
Yes, like locker room.
It's too early, and we're mandated and governed and led by the league in that regard, and we're still just shy of 2 months away from the home opener, 6 weeks or so from training camp. So a lot can happen between now and then. But the league always, as it should, puts its players, its coaches, its staff, and the media and public safety first. So I'm sure we will have protocols that allow us to provide as much access as possible, because access is good for all of us, but at the same time, prioritizing health and safety of everyone involved.
Okay. Thank you. And see you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Next, we're going to go to Howard Megdal. Howard, go ahead and ask your question.
Appreciate it. T, this one's for you. You in your first 3 years in the league, if you go by win shares, you're 14th in the entire league. You're surrounded by household names in this league. And the other part is you're surrounded by people who have been regular starters in this league. So my question that I just twofold for you is, one, do you feel like there's a gap between the perception of your game and where your game is at? And the other is, how important is starting to you?
I mean, coach is going to put up, who she's going to put in. I mean, I'm not going to get too, dialed in on that. I mean, I'm going to come in, we're going to compete. And I mean, when it comes to game time, whoever coach puts in, that's who she puts in. I mean, there's no hard feelings, we're all a team. So at some point, we're all going to get in and do what we're supposed to do on the court.
But I guess just to the other part of that, do you feel like there's a gap between people understanding how good you've been and where your game is at this point?
I mean, honestly, if you're not tuned into me, then get tuned into me, because I'm coming. That's just how it is. I'm just going to say that. We can leave it at that.
Yeah, and I'll speak to that, Howard, because I really can't. The answer is yes.
Yes.
Extraordinary expectations coming out of college. I mentioned it before. I think she's 3rd in the league since she's been in the league in double-doubles. She is always ranked 1st, 2nd, or 3rd in rebounding. You mentioned the win shares. What I love about you, Howard, you look at the advanced metrics as well. Yes, I think there is a misconception, perception, if you will. And we're excited to help fix that when she arrives in Dallas.
More double-doubles than starts. I'll leave it there too.
All right, thank you. Next, we are going to go to Ariana Vedia. This will be our last question, guys. Go ahead, Ariana.
Here, getting the chance to, be back home, or at least a few hours away from home, does that add any fuel to your game?
It definitely does, because now my family can come down and watch me pretty frequently, being that they're only 3 hours away. They've already called me and texted me 1,000,000 times, and they're ready to get in and come see me play in person, because it's been a minute since they've seen me in person. So I think it'll be great, and I'll definitely put on a show for them night in, night out.
Did they come to see you during the series in Dallas this past season?
Yes, they did come and see me. So that was good. I was glad to see them when they came.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ariana. And thank you, everyone, for hopping on. We will see y'all when the season rolls around. Make sure to stay tuned for when we send out training camp media schedules, as we will have our normal training camp media availability just like last year. And thanks again for everyone hopping on. Thank you to head coach Vicki Johnston, Dallas Wings president and CEO Greg Bibb, and of course, Dallas Wings newly acquired center Teaira McCowan. Have a nice day, y'all.
See you guys.
Bye.
Well.
Yeah. Have a good day.